We just found the most evil, vilest supervillain in comics, and it's not some clown in a purple suit, nor is it some green-skinned goblin on a glider. It's a disgusting billionaire bent on revenge. Meet Nemesis, the brainchild of preeminent comic book adaptation pitcher Mark Millar and superhero comic mainstay Steve McNiven. He's an ultra-violent, ultra-perverted dude in a suit reminiscent of Batman's, if Alfred put too much bleach in the washing machine. And believe us when we say you're gonna want to have a good, hard scrub in the shower after you find out the kinds of atrocities this wretch has gone to, all in the name of revenge. To start off, Nemesis is a man named Matt Anderson, heir to the family's multi-billion-dollar fortune. Prior to becoming the supervillain that he is, Matt vowed to avenge the death of his father. So far, so good, right? Almost sounds like he's on a justified quest to bring justice into his own hands. Well, that is until you find out that his father was a grade A scumbag who literally hunted people for sport along with his other wealthy friends. After getting caught by police, Chief Blake Morrow, Matt's dad pulled a classic rich guy in prison move and offed himself, which then set off Matt on a journey to turn Morrow's life into a living hell, cost be damned. Right at the start of his villainous spree, Nemesis brutally kills a cop along with an entire SWAT team right at the same time as he blows up a skyscraper in Tokyo. This is all just his opening salvo too, as Chief Morrow receives a card from Nemesis stating that he's been marked for death on the 12th of March, at the stroke of midnight. Nemesis then proceeds with hijacking Air Force One, the US president's personal aircraft, and crashing it right into the Pentagon before taking the leader of the free world as his hostage, which he then announces by broadcasting it internationally. Now, if you thought Nemesis was done with the Pentagon, you've got another thing coming. Because after crashing an airplane and killing scores of government employees and civilians there, Matt then had the bright idea of releasing nerve gas within the building's halls, effectively killing some 20,000 people with it. And just to add insult to injury, he even reveals himself to Chief Morrow and another police officer, Stewart, only to easily escape the scene once they start shooting at Nemesis. A bit later, cops finally manage to capture the calculating villain. Of course, this is all just a ploy. Nemesis meant to be caught just so he and his underlings can wreak havoc inside the jail where he was held. By the time the chaos had settled, Nemesis had personally murdered almost 100 prison guards before, just like any other building that had the misfortune of meeting Matt, blowing up the whole establishment. Nemesis isn't just good at large-scale terrorism either. You can even say he's far more despicable when trying to destroy lives on a more personal level. Because after the whole deal with the prison, Matt decides to kidnap Morrow's kids and dig deep into their family's history. He finds out that Morrow's wife had become unfaithful, that his son is gay, and Morrow's daughter previously had an abortion they hid from the public eye. In fact, Morrow himself had no idea about these things, as his own family kept it from him. Well, not until Nemesis entered their lives, of course. Ultimately, the supervillain releases Morrow's kids, but not before performing one of the most, if not the most, insidious acts you'll ever discover in superhero comics. Nemesis secretly inseminated Morrow's daughter with his son's sperm and rigged the poor girl's uterus so that she'd die if they tried to abort the little fruits of incest from her womb. And now we feel dirty just mentioning that. Anyway, Morrow eventually discovers that his partner Stewart is one dirty cop who's been working for Nemesis all along in exchange for 10 million buckaroos. Of course, like any good billionaire, you can bet Nemesis isn't going to pay his employees. Instead, he puts a bullet in Stewart's head. Nothing says true villainy like free labor. Plus, he reveals to Morrow that his origin story as the billionaire Matthew Anderson, the man bent on revenge for his father's suicide, is pure hogwash. For one, he's just a super wealthy dude who decided to use his money to make the world a crappier place than it already is, because it's fun. For another, he's not some heir to any fortune. He stole his billions from the real Matthew Anderson, a rich dude who died inside a brothel in India under quote-unquote mysterious circumstances, though we all know who probably did it. In a climactic showdown, Nemesis would take a page from Heath Ledger's Joker and strap bombs on the President of the United States and Morrow's wife. He hands the police chief a detonator and makes him choose: kill the leader of the free world or blow up his wife to bits. Don't worry guys, all this is fiction. especially when you find out that the president willingly sacrificed himself and told Morrow to detonate his bombs and save his wife, which the police chief obliges to. He and Nemesis then get into an old-fashioned gunfight, where Morrow finally puts an end to the supervillain's rampage with a well-placed slug to the forehead. Nemesis managed to shoot him in the gut before that, but he ultimately survived and adverts that whole March 12th midnight prophecy that Nemesis sent him before. But here's the real twist of the story of Nemesis. Months after recovering from the gut shot he took, Morrow receives a message from someone claiming that they're the head honcho of a company who specializes in turning bored, wealthy a-holes into honest-to-goodness supervillains. That's right, people. Nemesis isn't just a single supervillain, it's a legacy title. And since this is a Mark Millar comic, you can expect he's going to milk this character harder than Luke Skywalker on Octu. And you can bet we'll giddily have our glasses ready for it. What do you think of Mark Millar's Nemesis? Know any supervillains more diabolical than this one? We're dying to know in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell to be the first to catch all the amazing pop culture videos we have in store for you. We'll see you next time, only here at KRTV Marvel.